Do you think it's OK next time a patient comes into your surgery? Are you happy to make one of the first questions you ask them, what's their sexual preference?
No, it's entirely not OK to make that the first question when someone comes in. People have a very short time with us, unfortunately, and we manage to stack in an enormous amount into an average 10-minute consultation. And if you think about that, that's probably 8 minutes by the time someone's come down the corridor and sat down. And I'm more interested in the patient's agenda and what they want to get out of the consultation than I am in asking random questions on behalf of the authorities such as NHS England.
So, did Dr. Sarah Jarvis then...
as you have...
Yeah, I was just going to ask, why are the guidelines introduced then?
Well, interestingly, they've been pushed through by LGBT organisations who say that it's really important not to discriminate against people who are lesbian, gay or bisexual. And I do think, actually, there is evidence medically that there are some situations, certainly, where people who are LGB are more likely to suffer. So, for instance, they're more likely to suffer from mental health problems. They're more likely to suffer from loneliness when they get older.
Well, that sounds a little bit like a rather old-fashioned view that suggests that there is something wrong with you if you are
Absolutely
gay.
not. Absolutely not. This is a purely medical reason. And I absolutely agree with Peter that the last thing I'm going to be doing when I meet somebody for the first time is saying, hello, my name's Dr. Jarvis, are you gay?
But that's basically
not the
what
way
they're
it's gonna
suggesting,
happen.
isn't it?
It's what we're being asked to do. But, of course, there are patients can absolutely opt out. Yes. Your first question was, are people going to be forced to tell their GP? Absolutely not.
However, if someone comes in and says, I'm suffering from depression, or in other words, and quite often they don't say, I'm suffering from depression, doctor, then part of the conversation may well be about their sexuality, and that's entirely appropriate. But it isn't appropriate for me to say to every single patient as they walk into my consulting room, as Sarah says, good morning, Mrs. Jones, and by the way, are you gay, straight, bisexual, or whatever? Because she might have been coming in about her bunions, and in all honesty, it's not relevant. And I'm also very unhappy as to be used as an agent of state supervision of people's sexuality, because I know that once it's recorded on our computer systems, it's there forever. And there will be many people who may answer me because the consultation is confidential, but not realise that the data is recorded and is there forever, and if someone wishes to trawl through it, it will be there to be trawled.
Sarah,
and I'm very unhappy about that. This is not about... This is not about collecting statistics for a government. This is about a personal relationship between a GP and their patient and trying to do the best we can for that individual patient, and not to be public health doctors.
OK, Sarah, what I think, though, isn't it just... This is the inevitable consequence of the new PC-crazed world we're all now in. This would never have even been mooted as a good idea 20 years ago. But now everyone's so treading on eggshells, so overly keen to not cause offence, that they drift into doing stupid things like this, which are so obviously, in my view, likely to cause the very offence they're supposedly designed to stop.
I absolutely agree in some respects, and I think this is all going to be down to how it's administered. Firstly, there is no way that I expect any receptionist I ever meet ever to call out to a patient, by the way, we're going to ask you about your sexuality, when they're standing in public at the reception desk. It may well be that when a patient registers for the first time, it'll be put in exactly the same way as your ethnic status is on your medical notes. Now, in the past, people would have said, well, what business is it of yours to know our ethnic status? Actually, if you've got, say, Afro-Caribbean, if you're Afro-Caribbean origin or you're mixed race heritage, you're much more likely to suffer from conditions like, say, sickle cell anemia. If you're of Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish heritage, you're more likely to suffer from other blood disorders. So there are all sorts of reasons for asking this, and I think with LGB, it is important. Clearly, the T is not relevant here because we are going to know from somebody's medical record if they are transgender, or at least I'd be very surprised if we didn't. Something's gone seriously wrong if not. But I think what really worries me about Peter's comment there is he is suggesting to people that their medical records are going to be out there in the public domain. They so are not. Can you imagine all the things that people tell me as a doctor about? If I wanted to disclose them, I couldn't. And I think that to say that we shouldn't be doing this in order to make sure that people's sexuality doesn't get out there is just a nonsense.